we close in on the inside of the Explorer Society, where the GM must immediately pause the volume on, or lower the volume on his roll 20. Sorry. We close in on the interior of the Explorer Society, where when we had last left off with Gav, we had an event that was out of sequence where at the close of it, he had, or at the close of his cold open, he had been contacted by a familiar uh, draconic form. The we're jumping back to that sequence now, um, with the image of the dragon still inside of the egg itself, and the entire Explorer Society gathered around, looking at the very first live Cernith creature that they've ever seen. Um, and it leans in. It doesn't seem to be focusing on anyone. It doesn't seem like it can see anybody that's there. Um, eh, and it says, Rosa, Len, greetings to you. Please forgive if I am brief. This connection is not intended for transition between the realms. You asked me if there was a way to defeat or destroy Ruin, and I believe I have made progress. When the emissaries of Matushka have received this message, place your hands on the glass, and I will relay what I have learned. And then the dragon sort of turns fuzzy and briefly turns sideways and then completely disappears. Uh, and the entire Explorer Society kind of like erupts in clamor, like whether it's like a recorded message, um, whether it's live. Nobody quite seems to know like what exactly it is, but Gav definitely heard the names, and he knows that his friends had claimed to have met a dragon, and now there seems to be some proof to back up said claim. So, um, that is this is I think the shortest cold open that I've yet done. I am going to close it out there and start us into a regular session, but we are now sort of like time loop, time skipped, like all caught up. And it's actually going to have been like a day or so since the events of the last session. So that if people have some things they want to do in the wake of Hans's sort of return to himself, we can cover that quickly before we kind of dive into this moment. But I am going to read us in, and then I'm going to have everybody introduce themselves real quick, and then we'll get going. Thank you, everyone, and welcome to the Shadow of the Wachturrm. Our producer tonight is one of the moderators of Dirty 20 Gaming, the delightful and compassionate Gloriosa. Not feeling well tonight, so everybody send her some hearts. Um, our lore master for the series is the beautiful and benevolent Syndra. Before we get started, I want to give a content warning. While the spirit of Seven Sea is swashbuckling adventure and shadowy intrigue, the story will deal with mature themes, including death, loss, suicide, and grief. Eisen, our setting, is recovering from a 30-year civil war over religious differences. It may get dark sometimes. There's no shame in bowing out if it's not a place your head can go at the moment. So, without further ado, I'm going to have our savvy swashbucklers introduce themselves, starting with Gav.
Hi, my name is Gav. My name is Bison underscore Stonefist. I'm playing Gav tonight, and I'm trying to remember which show I was supposed to introduce. Give me a sec here. I'll find it. Oh, that doesn't wait. Huh? No, I don't know. Which one was I doing again?
Which one did you do last week?
I don't remember. Anyways, I'm here a lot. Was it Humbled Heart? I think it was
I
Humbled
think
Heart.
so. I think,
Yeah.
but no. Gerard did
No.
Humbled Heart. So what's the?
Oh, Demon Paradox.
Okay.
Wow. Hi. We were trying to do this to make it shorter, and I'm just dragging it out. Uh, yeah. Okay. So I'm here a lot. This week or tonight, I would like to talk to you guys about the Thursday game that I'm in. It is called Deviant Paradox. It is in the City of Mist campaign. In that game, I play Garrett slash Grendel. It is run by the lovely Sans, our very own Rosa, and it is an absolute riot. It's drama, it's intrigue, it's we're all doomed, but are we doomed? But I think we know what we're doing, but we really don't know what we're doing. Oh, by the way, interpersonal conflict. Yay. And so that's why we call it Chaos Incarnate. And that pretty much sums it up. It's the closest thing to a CW show you're ever gonna get. So if you like that stuff from like 10 years ago and you're old like me, you know. But yeah, let's hot potato it to Sarah.
Hey y'all, my name is Sarah. I go by Sans on the Discord. I am on this channel 5.5 nights a week. But tonight I'm actually going to talk about the Pandora's Gift shows. We have two of them, one in the morning and one in the night. That's the cast I am on as Clarity Palace, the best healer ever. Um, as Kevin says, there is the same set of notes for the shows. They could not be any more different. So come watch both, because it's a lot of chaos and a lot of fun. When I'm not here, you can find me over on Tango Productions, working with the Scarlet Adventurer and Rock Paper Fox on stuff and things that'll come out eventually. Let's give it over to Gerard.
Oh wait.
I'm waiting.
No, sorry. I forgot I was hot mic'd. Uh, I'm talking to myself.
Hello, everybody. I am Shadow, also known as the True Shadow Mancer. I am one of the founders of the Desperate Dice Rollers. If I'm not hanging out there, I'm hanging out here in Dirty 20 Gaming Discords. I run a number of games, but tonight I'm here to talk about the Humble Heart game, run by our ever lovely co-producer on so many other things all over the place, Hell's Hound 20. This is a game that takes place in the Humblewood setting. And to say that we have an interesting group would be very much an understatement. So if you got a chance on Tuesday, no, sorry, not Tuesdays, that's the one I run. Every other Wednesday, coming back around here on May the 6th, May the 6th be with you. Come watch the escapades of Tiberius, Barry. I'm trying to do this from memory to see if I can do it. Jess, and the Heartwood Acorns #1 fan. Oh, I almost forgot somebody. Our Raven friend who just can't stay out of trouble. So, come on, folks. And I'm going to pass it over to the man leaning into his screen like he has something important to say. Back, Kyle.
Sometimes you just be leaning, it's one of those days. But hey folks, it's me, Pat Kyle. I'm in a game today. I run a game on Fridays, but today we're here to talk about this game that we're actually about to really play. This fantastic, lore rich, NPC heavy, but like good ways heavy game that I feel like just about every player would drag themselves over broken glass to make session for. Shadow of the Wachturrm, where I play Len. I cannot keep secrets, and most of the things that I can't keep secret are doom for the world. So go me. And let's then go ahead and toss it over to Ruth.
I'm Ruth, you found me. I am here a lot, but today I am going to be talking about our Friday game, Everyday Divinity. Super fun, super cool horror game run by Bat Kyle. As you know, we need to have him as his own content warning. So that tells you all you need to know about Bat Kyle. Where we are, I guess, kind of racing against the clock with some leeches for our lives. And I think we're winning because none of us are dead yet. And no one's been taken yet.
Despite Saul's best efforts.
Yeah.
Just watch last session.
I was in for bits. I am there as Juliet Fairchild, who is super fun for me to play. has been described as nice witch lady. That is about all for me. I need to write down what I want to say about this game, or else I'm never going to remember.
If you have not seen Ruth be I mean, I say unintentionally, but just sort of like background creepy, it's worth watching, like for that alone.
Thank you. It's working. Yay. On that note, I'm gonna hand it over to Arthur.
Hello, I'm the Scarred Adventurer. Normally I'm in a lot of games as well, because, we have no life, most of us. And those of us who do still manage to do this somehow anyways, which is crazy as well. But still, tonight I'm going to be talking about our wonderful Rise of the Temple game run by the True Shadowmancer. It is tremendous fun. It's a D&D 5.5 with some homebrew mixed in, and a world setting that is so fascinating that has been, of course, homebrewed once again by the True Shadowmancer, and I cannot wait to delve more and more into it. And surprisingly, I am surprisingly deadly in that game so far. I killed like 3 things with 1 shot. I don't know how I did that, but we're gonna move on from that. Yeah, I play a ridiculous, insane stoat that steals everything he can. Anyways, I'm gonna quickly throw this over to Rory or Hans.
Hello.
And yeah,
Yeah, that's me. I'm Rory. I'm in this game too. Who would have guessed? I'm in a bunch more. It's much like a surprising number of our other cast members, actually. But I'm going to tell you guys, you the viewers, about Oracle Force, which is the game that happens on the Wednesdays that Humbled Heart doesn't happen. So wrap your brain around the schedule and tune into that, because it's run by the awesome Scarred Adventurer using the Masks: A New Generation system. It's sick as hell, and probably one of the lighter-hearted games. I would assume second to Humbled Heart. But I haven't seen it, so I haven't seen Heart. I haven't caught up on Humbled Heart yet, so I'm not entirely sure. But that one's cute animals and stuff. So, but yeah, if you want like kind of lighthearted superhero fun with the with it grounded in realism but very silly, and well, yeah, obviously crazy stuff and bad things do happen, but tune in for some lighthearted, angsty teenage superhero characters who either control their powers so well that it's ridiculous, or basically don't control them at all. And there's fun little interpersonal bits and ridiculous antics. Overall, it's a really fun game. So catch up on the YouTubes along with everything else. And I think that's everybody, right?
I think so.
All right. Well, back to you in the studio, Siaza.
Thanks. All right. All right. I'm about to read my outro, like shortest game ever. No. In
More
the ancient
experience. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. Thanks for being here. Okay. In the ancient days of Newman, the great storyteller and philosopher Sarah's the Wiser once noted that an adventure can begin only in one of 3 ways: by death, by slur, or by letter. To begin without one of these incitements is folly, debacle best described as an indiscretion, a dalliance, an escapade. Fear not, we begin tonight properly girded with a letter, the most seductive of the 3, and thus the most powerful. So I think those letters, the letters in question, are from Gav to everybody, inviting them to the Explorer Society. I think at one point I mistakenly placed the Explorer Society up in the Stone to Wasson. It is actually in Steinholt, in the center area.
That makes it so much easier to get to.
Yeah. So I imagine Gav is still there. The Explorer Society, they're kind of debating, like, do we put our hands in it? What if we're not the emissaries of Matushka? And somebody, what is it, Matushka? And Bissett is like, nobody is putting their hands on it. And kind of clearing everybody away, they get, like, the little stanchions with a little velvet rope, like, to put around it, like that's going to protect it from curious hands. But in this particular company, probably is like the best protection you can put on it. Um, Gav has plenty of access to letters, and people who are up to go collect everybody else. Um, so, but the city is still like on lockdown, so everybody's going to be taking a little bit to get there. Um, so I'm going to go from sort of group to group. I think there's going to be some people I'm sort of expecting to spend time together, like Len and Rosa. I'm expecting her together. Um, they've had about a day. I imagine they have some things to talk out and work out. Is there anything that you kind of want to like do as like a conversation en route after getting said invitation? Because I imagine they've got.
Yeah. Um, Len would definitely take the time to let Rosa know, that vision that you saw of me being frozen, that was only part of the vision. Matushka offered me a deal. At this point, there's almost no way to avoid my battle with Kolshe and the wolf, the primal wolf. Um, and my options really are going to be either they kill me or I become the Winter Knight. I become Batushka's not so mortal anymore hand in the world. And in doing so, she strips that divine aspect from Kolshe and gifts it to me. She's promised that I can be there for you and our child. It's not going to be I'm always gone all the time forever, but I will be busy trying to keep the world from imploding. And if the options are dying and the world effectively ending and you and our daughter not living anymore, or serving my goddess and being still able to watch our child grow up and help you with her and support you both and give you both the chance for life, then it's never really was a choice. Not for me. So how was your day, sweetie?
As she is covered in, you said white splotches, right?
I thought her skin was entirely white. Like she is now head to toe sheet white from going
Yeah, I
so
think
far.
I think for her it's kind of like in effect like it looks like she's like completely powdered all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So
We can't even see her
And
fate lashes anymore, you said, right?
I'm leaving that up to her.
Oh, okay.
I actually think they turned white as well.
Hmm.
So like, all right, do you think that they're a different shade so they still stand out, but it's sort
Yeah.
of more like spider web against snow?
Yes.
Okay.
That's a cool visual.
Yeah.
Although she's much gaunter now than she was
Yes.
before.
It's like I noticed the new makeup and he kind of gently touches her cheek and then nothing really comes off.
Surviving white plague left its mark.
I didn't even know you were sick while I was gone. I'm sure the rest of the council checked in and helped take care of you, but I'm sorry I wasn't there.
Gav, Runa, and Honorine took care of grandmother. She's gone.
Very nice. Very nice. What was the cost? It had to have cost something to end her.
They each have their scars.
I will have to find a way to thank them. Even if they're bitchin' scars, I'm still gonna have to find a way to thank them for being there for you when I couldn't. The only solace I really have in all this is that my warnings definitely saved a lot of lives.
And thankfully, whatever they did has weakened the Unraveled.
Even better. Even better. Maybe we can push them back enough that the dome, whatever we're calling it, can repair itself.
It's not perfect, but it's better. They're without their leader.
I'll take better at this point. Did you discover anything else? Was she the source of the White Plague? Because the plague seemed to come through like
Rosa
fast.
Player does not remember.
So there was the thing that she saw that they were at least using death strands to kind of create a web of death through the city. That with her destruction, fully at this point, as she's looking up like the web that she'd seen, like fully a third of it seems to have disintegrated and fallen apart. Um, and possibly even a little bit more than that, because her strands supported other strands, which have sometimes fallen, which is probably the cause and effect of this person infecting this person. And she's, sometimes breaking up the chain partway through. So now that doesn't mean that like if they kill all of the Unraveled, that like the death toll of the White Plague will be minuscule, but there is a possibility that it would significantly reduce the toll of it if they did.
And she'll relay that, adding, I don't know how to get the others to appear, but if we could, it might help a lot of people in the city.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to look into that because a lot of us going into the Nightways is not gonna be helpful. I can't really kill any Unraveled when I have a bear trying to claw its way out of my chest. It's a really weird experience. But you're okay? I know this sickness
I'm
probably took.
alive.
Oh, I will take that. Gonna slide around an arm around her.
And she puts her head on his shoulder. And
Was
just
there any?
kind of sits for a moment.
He's gonna stay quiet for a little while before he's finally like, was there any other Doom uncovered? Like I didn't come back with Doom this time. I but I have a feeling we're about to find some more Doom because we're gonna go talk to a dragon.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I think the doom came from this time would be Gav.
Oh, okay. It's Gav's fault. I can share the Doom a little bit as a treat.
So I think we're at a good place to cut to. So I'm kind of wanting to do these as in pairs. So, who wants to be hanging out with Hans post his recovery?
That would actually be Arthur in all likelihood, due
That
to the
checks out.
fact that you're currently dating my boss and my best friend. So
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to pick the scene for this one because there's some sort of aftermath that I want to deal with, which is that they are where Strauss's body is being prepared for cremation. He at the end was no longer, a Vatazine nor an objectionist. And but there was another personal matter that Strauss had asked Hans to take care of. So, do you remember what that was? The ring?
No, I remember there was a promise made, but I don't remember what it was,
The
unfortunately.
promise is that there's a ring that needs to go to somebody that is in Montaigne.
That's right.
Basically the person he had selected as the heir to run the Black Crosses after his death.
Right,
Um,
right.
So, the body's there. Arthur is with Hans. The and they're just sort of like getting it prepared. There's no like prayers being said or anything like that. Although this is probably as close to like, I mean, he's already been buried once, technically.
Yeah.
So, but this is a different thing. Um, so does Hans have anything to say?
Does he still have the? I assume he had the ring on him, right? Don't have to
Yeah,
like
it's
go
on his
searching for
hand.
it.
It's
Okay.
on his hand, and Hans is able to remove it easily enough.
Yeah, take the ring off. It is a shame he ended the way he did. But uh, perhaps, perhaps I will see you in the next one. Huh? We'll do a. Trying to think of a sign or something. I think it. He would just. He, not necessarily out loud, just like a silent, like tiny blessing in a kind of silly way he's come up with for potential guidance through the darkness from the Shadow Man.
Um,
And actually, if you'll allow it, can I take a tiny sliver of black wood to leave to be cremated with him as like a
yeah,
little token?
yeah, I'm
Okay.
good with that.
Yeah, just toss a little like black wood chip, leave it on the center of his chest.
Um, yeah, and with that is, and the ring removed. The ring is a very simple thing of like plain iron. No decoration, no like mark or sigil on it.
Wow.
That fits on his pinky, but like there is an unusual weight to it as Hans is holding it. Um, and the so I don't know as Arthur was there when Kazi was introduced. Am I right?
I don't think so.
It is okay. So Kazi has in his original stat block, which was the old skill system, he had ambush, sneaking, and tracking at 6 dots.
Oh,
So like all
wow.
three of those. So like his appearance in the room is sudden and like that it barely even disturbs the air as he sort of like appears next to Hans while the body is being like put into the fire. Um, Arthur has never seen him before. Arthur has probably also never seen someone with like dark black skin. Kazi is from the island of Kanuba, which is like far from the mainland of Thea, and singularly unique looking from Arthur's experience.
Yeah, Arthur waits to see how Hans reacts.
It's
'Cause that will indicate like, do I have to fight someone?
Scheiße, Master Kasi. Did
This
not even hear
is
you come in.
I did not. He
Uh,
says, I apologize. I didn't want to disrupt the proceedings.
yes, man, that is. Please, if you would like to say something for him, go ahead.
Uh, he he says he is a man who has led us through war, through turmoil, who has overseen the greatest losses and persevered in the face of them all. He was a man with a will of iron, says, and yet one who listened to those beneath him. Says from the rankest initiate to the most experienced of his fellow acolytes. Strauss Strauss has had an eye and an ear for everyone beneath him, and he mourned every loss.
Yeah, a man of true respect.
There's two things that Arthur, like Kazi himself is sort of dressed in like a European style. But he has like a cloak that looks like it's made almost of living shadow hanging off of one shoulder. And hanging at it, like not hanging in his side like in a leather sense. Like he's just sort of like holding it loosely in the other hand is a like a half spear that looks to be of like carved wood with a stone tip.
Do I need to be concerned about this fella?
Yeah. Oh, nine. He's a acquaintance, I guess. Is a colleague of Strasse's, part of the Cruisritter, the Black Crosses.
All right.
Did
I'd
you-
say pleasant to meet you, but not under these sort of circumstances.
He bows his head. He says, I have seen a few of your fights in a few of the taverns around town.
Well, I aim to please. Or to knock the opponent out very quickly. Depends on how drunk I am.
He smiles and he says, I believe you are the only member of the council of which I am unacquainted. He says, I am Kazi of Kanuba, he says. And he kind of pauses and he looks to Hans. He says, there's something, he says, of which you were not told. When Strauss deduced your intentions regarding your heritage, he had hoped to take the largest obstacle to that ascension out of your way. And he sent me to do the same to Sigil.
Sigil. Scheiße. Stubborn man until the end. What of... did you find him? What of any encounters with him, if you had any?
He says, I did not have an opportunity in which I would have had an opportunity to fight him. He has been paranoid about darkness since his encounter in the Black Forest, and he does not stay in any room that is not extremely well lit. He says, which makes my own comings and goings more difficult.
I imagine you're not exactly the type to knock.
He kind of smiles. He says, we watch from the night ways.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You were not here for that. I'm busy with some errand from Logan. It's don't even know how to explain it. Would you like to catch him up a small bit?
Kazi kind of, it is a thing better shown than explained. He says,
Always love
will you be,
for things.
he says, will you be here for a few moments?
Yes.
He just kind of like pulls the cloak and just fucking disappears, like as he moves it over his shoulder.
You know, I really enjoy it when people just, use doors. It's a very small little peeve of mine, but I appreciate a door being used as a door, or a window occasionally being used as a door. I'm just saying, like sometimes this gets a little too supernatural, and I'm a little.
So like 30 minutes of Arthur complaining about doors later. And the door to the room opens and Kazi steps through it with the cloak over one shoulder and another cloak over his forearm, as though he would have heard what you were complaining on his exit.
See, this is what I appreciate.
He says, you will need to put this over your shoulders. He says, but it is best if we are outside.
Right then.
He says, I would warn you, it is important that we be quiet while we are there. The Nightways are not a safe place, and the things that we can draw the attention of are a danger to us.
That's going to be a bit of an issue, but okay.
So he
walks up to, have fun. I will wait in here.
Go back and see Logan.
And he steps outside. He pulls the cloak and kind of waits for Arthur to put the cloak over his own shoulders and join him.
Yeah.
The place that you enter it looks like Freiburg at night. And overhead is a darkness that is starless and moonless, and yet somehow he can still sort of see inside of it. Does that make sense? And as he looks up and towards the sky, it looks as though the sky itself is domed by some sort of bowl. As though like it was literally like built under glass. Does that make sense? Except that it's the entire sky and it doesn't extend to like just around Freeburg. It looks like the entirety of everything. And he can see cracks and pockmarks in the glass. And then as he's staring up at it and looks at it, he can see that on the other side of it, there are things moving. There are creatures of size and enormity that like when one of them moves, he realizes that it looks like almost like a full of like third of the night sky with some sort of tentacles undulating. And the thing that opens in the middle of all those tentacles is one enormous red eye that's slitted like a cat's that looks down for just a moment.
It's as much sound as he makes. He just lets out a little sigh. Like look at
The
the weird things.
um so the thing is that like the things that he sees, like many of them are sort of like insectoid and stuff like that, but they trigger some familiarity for him, and he has a moment of like remembering childhood and remembering stories about things that the Fae themselves feared and fought against.
Arthur has things he wants to say, but of course he's not saying anything at the moment because he's been told to keep
Yeah,
quiet. He's
you know
able to do that. I'm just saying.
there was a there's a difference between the Shi and like the Seelie and the Unseelie, but that was like a political rift between two factions of Fae. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
This was a war against something else, something other. And Arthur understands it as like almost the fairy tales of the Fae themselves.
You don't go into the dark because the big bad wolf will get you.
Um,
Except this
yeah,
one is giant tentacle monsters with red eyes.
well, and also like insectoid millipede like things that are kind of like across the barrier itself. And Kazi kind of, looks to him, sees that he's sort of like absorbed what he can see around there, and he can see like through every shadow that he would have seen on the other side. When he looks at the building, he can actually like peer into it through the shadows that are in the building itself. And kind of understands that every place there's a shadow, these people can see out of. Does that make sense?
To a degree.
Um, I think the best
Just for
explanation.
reference, you're also explaining this to me while I'm in pain and I'm trying to
Oh,
cope with
that's
that.
right.
There's one of those things like I'm doing my best and you're doing a good job. It's just I'm doing my best.
I get it. The easiest way to think of it is like looking at any building for a moment, like his eyes kind of blur, and then it looks like a dollhouse where like the walls just come off. Does that make sense? And you'd be looking at it from the side view. And Kazi throws his hood back and it just disappears out of the place.
Arthur's going to do the same. It's one of those like, is this place really safe without a guide?
Almost certainly not.
That's kind of what he's going for. So yeah. Arthur because he's just who he is. He'll take the hood off, but I'll also kind of he'll undo the thing and kind of in a flourish, just kind of take it off and wrap it back up so it's ready to be handed back.
And Kazi takes it back. He says, "My order is in disarray and has been for some time. Many have been lost. And we have lost more in the last 10 years than we gained in the last 200.
You know what's causing the loss?
We know that many of our brethren were someone spilled the secrets of the crosses outside of it, and someone else used that knowledge to set a trap for us.
Ah. The question still remains, who laid the trap?
That we don't know.
Fantastic. Slightly a bit of an odd question. Is it possible to use what's in there to fight Seelie and Unseelie? Or would that be highly inadvisable?
We have never seen them. The barrier in every land that we have traveled to has been weakened by the sorcery in use there. Porte opens rifts through the barrier. Sorte weakens it slowly over time. Eisen's is stronger than most, but now it is under direct assault in a way that it never has been before.
Yeah, and part
The
of it
only
is
place,
kind.
the only place where the barrier is stronger than everywhere else is in Avalon.
The only place that the barrier is in place is in Avalon.
The only place that the barrier is stronger, that the sorcery seems to strengthen it rather than weaken it. The magic of glamour reinforces the barrier.
I know that there are things going on here that make it so glamour isn't exactly a viable option here. But were there a way that we could get glamour into the world here? Would this help keep these things at bay a bit more?
He says, I am a man adept at tracking men and animals. It is a theory, he says, beyond my understanding. I am a shaman in my own way. And he kind of he lifts the spear and he twirls it. He says, but the magic that I wield, it is not from the same source.
Right. Frankly, I'm not entirely certain what to do with all this information. It'll make more sense come time goes on, but
I would just ask that whatever you do, don't write it down.
you see, that's a bit of an issue. I can leave your name and everything that you've shown me out of it, but I make frequent reports back home.
It says, what I showed you was inside of the context of an understanding with the council that our business would not be revealed to any others.
Shit. Fine. I have to have loaded up with extra bits about what kind of porridge I ate today. It's going to be really annoying for them.
He kind of smiles at that. He says, thank you for honoring the agreement.
Yeah, well,
and there's like a kind of tension that goes out of him.
You. I might trust you. I'll trust you.
He says, but there is another matter, he says, that I came to speak to Hans about. He says, but now that you have been made aware of some of the stakes of what we do. And he comes back in, looking for Hans.
Yeah, unless it's one of those private conversations Arthur is going with them to.
Okay.
He's still there. Keeping an eye on, I assume, the retort while they
Yeah. The body is like fully enclosed and like being rendered down to ash, but that takes a couple hours.
Yeah.
And in that time, the letters have arrived for both Hans and Arthur from Gav about an arrival. So Because I'm assuming Gav is addressing like everybody on the council, not just Len and Rosa in regards to this.
Yeah, everybody gets a letter.
But Kazi looks to Hans. He says, Strauss said that he would be speaking to you about the leadership of the crosses.
Yeah. Yeah, he gave me a final assignment in the event of his demise.
Um, and Kazi like waits, like he apparently has not been told like who this would be.
There is not much that I know, to be honest. There is a token to be delivered to Montaigne.
And he kind of
beyond that, he's he kept your guys' activities relatively under wraps.
did he say who it was to be delivered to and what it was?
I don't remember if was he just given a location or the like a very
The
specific
name.
person.
The name was
to?
Veronica
Okay.
Dupay, and
Mhm.
that was a name that would like apparently mean something. So, um,
When thinking back for a second, when Strauss was mentioning it, did he say it in a way that's kind of like this name would mean something bad, or is it just like the people who need to know will know why it's important?
he definitely said it with a certain heaviness. Does that make sense? Like,
Okay.
but whether that was reluctance or something else is hard to say. So,
Oh, you trust Kazi enough, yeah. As he gave mentioned an item to be delivered to a Veronica Dupay.
and Kazi's face is definitely much more reactive than like Strauss was kind of like holding it down. Kazi looks surprised. Um, there's like a kind of worry that crosses his face.
Um, perhaps unprecedented. I am unaware of the significance, but it was his wish, so.
He says Veronica Dupay is the Hawkmeister was a careful man, a man who avoided recklessness. Veronica Dupay does not share that reputation. It says, I believe one of the people working in her own chapter house described her as willing to leap into the mouth of a draken.
Perhaps he thought that is what is needed in these times. I cannot say. Did not provide much more than that.
He says the trinket, I assume you were referring to the Hawkmeister's ring.
Yeah.
He says that cannot travel through the nightways.
Is it of a strange sensitivity? It is
He
heavier than
says
it looks.
if it is brought into the nightways, it attracts, it emits a signal that seems to attract every horror imaginable.
Oh.
The last time it was brought into the nightways, it started a siege.
Oh. Just
And
like
that was centuries ago. It has not been done since. It needs to be transmitted without sorcery, he says, to Montaigne. Or
a
the one
horrifying
responsible in
beacon.
Montaigne needs to be brought here.
Mm-hmm.
That might be the safer course, actually.
That could be much easier, yeah.
This is a small question. Arthur's pendant didn't react in the nightways, did it?
Mm-mm.
Okay, that is it. He had not mentioned that. This is good to know. Thank you.
It says, can I trust you to make arrangements for it? I have been busy patrolling the nightways in these times.
Oh, yeah. I would not ask you to do more than you have already. I assume it. I know it has been chaos in all realms as of late.
He knows. And our job is to stand at the gates of that chaos and do our best to keep it closed.
Well, I wish you good fortune with that and safety. So I was given kind of a casual salute, and Yeah, arrangements shall be made as quick as can be. I'd imagine Veronica needs to hear the news as soon as possible.
He nods. Thank you again. I think he'd already taken the cloak back from Arthur, but yeah, he just kind of pulls it again, forgetting the preference for doors. Managed it once.
You know, he tried. I'm like as he leaves. He tried. I can't really be mad at him. I'm just.
I think he has been doing this for a very long time. I imagine it is force of habit at this point.
I imagine, and also it adds to the air of mystery. But you know, it's just fun to. Sometimes a door is nice to be used as a door. You know, a portal into another space, as opposed to just portaling into another space.
So with that, we're going to. I assume they're setting off after that to head for.
Yeah,
the
off we
Explorer
go to
Society.
respond to the letter, I guess.
Yeah. So we'll go to Gerard and Runa. And so I suspect Gerard is probably like they're crossing paths in regards to like Gerard kind of dealing with the aftermath of Hans drockening out. And the Runa with some of the sort of like setting up plague things down in the most densely populated area of Finehearth. I don't know as they've really had too much time together as council members before. So
They have not.
I will kind of leave it to you as to whether Gerard is like helping Bruna with plague prep stuff or Bruna is helping Gerard with kind of keeping the peace and everything in the midst of like the plague spreading.
I'm good with either.
I mean, I don't really know what Gerard could do to help with plague stuff other than kind of keep the peace, keep people away, nothing to see here.
Also, because I'm still like dealing with things outside and like directly, do I need to roll resolve again?
Yes.
Okay.
And you do have a +5 if you're wearing plague gear. Gerard, who is also not contracted, also needs to make the same roll.
It would have to be really bad to fail. Like I'd have to roll all fours to fail, I believe.
You almost did.
Yeah. So that's a 26.
Okay.
It feels really good having a resolve of 5.
Getting mine here, hold on.
Okay. And Gerard is getting by as well. No, because he's got the +5 if he's wearing plague gear. So
Thank God.
preparation. So yeah, it's I think it's a lot of like there's a lot of lifting to be done, and the guard are sort of the ones that are available to do it. They and so I think there's probably quite a bit of like Gerard more like directing people, you know what I'm saying, as they're having they're still actually getting supplies from Montague. Like he's been sending some of them directly into the city at this point. And they've been distributing them through Finehearth because population density wise, Finehearth's like 3 times any other district. And so slowing things down here is probably the best prevention for the rest of the city. Does that make sense? They also have access to the tree here, which is one of the few things that Runa has seen has consistently sort of helped raise immune systems to a degree that they stand a better chance of fighting things off.
Sorry, my camera has decided to act funny on me.
Yeah, I've noticed it decided to like
It's a
ghost
ghost.
you.
Maybe he did catch it.
Oh, there, that seemed to fix it.
Yeah, I know it's causing it. Okay.
Okay.
Give me just a moment. I'll fix it. Talk to Runa.
Okay.
Hi, I'm
Um,
Runa.
do you want to go ahead and give me a medicine roll with your wits?
Yep. Do I add the +5 for doctor?
Mhm.
Cool. Keeping wits.
All right.
So that's a 51.
Um, so here's what I want you to do is I want you to like make a note somewhere later on, not this session, but the next one. I'm going to be rolling kind of casualty rolls across the districts. And I want you to remember that Feinhearth is going to get 3 free raises by virtue of that roll.
3 free raises for death toll woot woot is what I'm gonna write.
So, because that's incredible. Like you just did a lot to like sort of like, okay, let's like you're setting up almost like sub quarantine areas within each of them to make like small as pods as possible. And like limiting the cross contamination across those areas. And also like it's getting the guards organized to be taking stock of like how many candles are lit, how many candles uh have gone out, so that things like bodies can be removed quickly. Um, and it's an organizational model that you're kind of like setting up for here that's going to be spread across to the other districts, but you're not going to have time to necessarily do it all yourself because there are many districts to cover. This is, covering several hours time, but Gerard is kind of watching. She got a 45 on a roll. You know what I'm saying? She seems to know like very much what
51.
she's doing. Yeah, 51. Sorry, with the so I imagine Gerard is really seeing the degree of expertise she's bringing to the table as a healer that he maybe had no idea about before.
She is so in the zone right now.
This is all true because before this, all I have seen her do is basic triage. So this goes far beyond my anything that I could even begin to think of understanding.
And probably also sees some aftermath of the sort of like command and captain that Runa is slowly growing into. Um, because there's a lot of just sort of like taking charge and making decisions and whatnot that seems to come very naturally to her in this moment. So,
She is her mother's daughter.
um, and so I imagine the setup is that like Runa's kind of giving the orders for Gerard to relay to everybody,
Probably, yeah.
so that there's no kind of crossover of authority or, I don't answer to you kind of stuff. So,
Yeah. Because Runa wouldn't take kindly to that, so she's just like, Gerard, you do it. These are your people, not mine.
and like after a few hours of this, it's like it's gone smoothly, it's gone quickly. The amount of like there appears to be a plan seems to be extremely calming to the residents. Does that make sense? Even if it's like, oh, this is going to suck for a little while, it's, not going to be convenient. It's also like, but there's a plan and something's being done. We're not just like going to be nakedly at the mercy of the plague. Does that make
Not
sense?
under Runa's watch.
Precisely, it's not the panic of why are they getting treatment and we're out here suffering. They see that we are out here helping them and moving things forward for them.
We care about their lives.
And now I'm going to have a secondary role that is Gerard's. You can use wits or panache. But this is sort of the like commanding of the guard for one particular aspect of this.
Well, you know that I'm going to use panache.
I thought you might. I was just going to give you the option.
Also, if you have any appearance, maybe?
Um, Well, that's entirely up to Siosa. I do have appearance. This
Yeah,
is also
this is effectively a social role, and with you using panache, basically the way I view it is like wits is like intelligence and everything, but having a really high panache means that you can like infuse it with a lot of humor and whatnot. So he's giving orders to his guards, but he's kind of getting them to laugh as he does it, like making it lighthearted. Even in it might be a little bit of gallows humor, but it's at least humor in a fairly desperate situation. Does that make sense? It probably very much comes naturally after the war in Usera.
I was just double checking as well. I do have your reputation with the Iron Guard.
Your so that reputation, I believe, was by virtue of your relationship with Adrian.
Ah,
So we'll have to figure out how that goes. You can use your council reputation on this role if you want.
I don't have that noted down.
I think the council's reputation is currently 60, so you can use that in as six bonus unkept dice if you want to use them all in this.
No, not in this case. I don't think it would be necessary.
So what's specifically being set up is around the tree that is growing in the like southeast corner of Finehearth. This is one of the few things that Bruna has identified as it's not a cure for the White Plague, but what it is a resistance to it. And so harvesting it and getting as much of it sort of distributed in problematic areas should reduce the effect of the White Plague somewhat and the spread of it. But it's very important it not be over harvested because it's you'd kill the golden goose. Does that make sense? So the
Right.
guard, so they need to both like explain like this is a resource, but we also need to be careful in collecting it so that we don't kill it. And basically what he's doing is getting it through like we have to have it both ways. We have to be collecting it and at a regular rate, but also protecting it from other people collecting it at the moment.
Guards at the tree.
This is the heart of the city. One of these. This will help protect the people of the city, but just like the river, if we overdraw from it, it will go away and the city will die. So is this tree.
It's a huge tree. Like you can see it from anywhere in the city. So
like the river, it may seem bountiful and endless, but there's only so much of the tree and so much life at a time that it can give. Take what we can, distribute it where it needs to go, like the salt on the table. Bits at a time, bits at a time.
all right. So go ahead and did you make that roll already of the panache and the okay. Okay. So in the same way, Rune is kind of seeing him like in a moment of his competence and like what he brings to the table for the council. As this is really landing with them. Like they are understanding that this is not something to abuse for a few extra coins in their pocket. And it's going to be very critical that it be kept like preserved, but also collected because it goes bad fast enough. It has to be used almost immediately. And made into teas, made into broths, whatever. So like the pipeline needs to be steady and continual and very carefully directed as to where it's going for the betterment of the city as a whole. So,
and treat those that would steal it as if they are taking your life.
So with that 45, when I do the triage rolls later on, this is going to be like 3 that can apply to any district. Does that make sense? Because it is effectively a source of medicine that can be used where it is needed most. Does that make sense? So go ahead and note that somewhere as well, that you're going to have that available as a resource. And it's at that point they're getting the letters of kind of like, summoning from Gav of like meet at the Explorer Society. The council has been meeting a lot of unusual places. That's not the Bear House, but and they've got a few moments to kind of chat while they're walking there together.
It's impressive seeing you work. I don't think I've actually seen you other than when the whole council meets. So
I was writing my notes.
that's okay. I realized you were busy.
Okay. Messy. It is. I suppose you could say second nature. It's when the life of others depends on if you cannot guide the information to where it goes. Soldiers die, civilians die. I suppose just by this point, second nature to me.
I understand that.
Hans, I heard that.
Oh, I thought this was your drink.
Can of meat beers. It is also good to see that the well-being of the township is in good hands. I have known many field surgeons. I have seen quick work and bloody work, but I have not seen what is the I have not seen any physician work as you do.
I'm tired of people dying needlessly. And if I can prevent it, I will. If I can help, I will. As you said, it's second nature to me to help people, to save the lives I can.
And that too is my goal. Although sometimes it will require me to take a life to save many, I will do what I can to save as many as possible.
That's the push and pull of it all, isn't it?
I suppose you are right.
So, after I think 3 episodes at this point of a cold open finally getting connected to back to where we are, we're going to cut into the Explorer Society. With everyone assembling. And the I think Madeline Bissett does kind of like elbow gav of like, please make some introductions.
My friends, this is Madame de Bissett. She is the leader of the Explorers Society. And then he introduces each individual member as they arrive.
Yeah, she is the most Eisen-looking Montaigne woman you've ever seen. Like, just kind of like most of the color that's associated with Montaigne fashion is out there. She's got little like half moon glasses, complete with like chain to make sure she doesn't lose them. But she curtsies. She's like, "It is a pleasure to have the council here." Um, and she looks to Gab. She's like, "We're the message that was delivered earlier was for members of the council."
Specifically, friend Len and friend Rosa. Yeah.
And she says, one of our scholars did transcribe the message if you'd like me to read it to you again.
Probably for the best.
Yeah. And, she kind of snaps her fingers and one of the scholars like hands her the page. And Rosa, Len, greetings to you. Please forgive if I am brief. This connection is not intended for transition between the realms. You asked me to see if there's a way to defeat or destroy ruin, and I believe I have made progress. When the emissaries of Matushka have received this message, place your hands on the glass and I will relay what I have learned.
Does the egg look like glass?
It doesn't now, but she says I believe it was referring to the object itself because during the time of transmission it looked like we were looking through the sides of it, as though it were made of glass.
Hmm. Okay, well, it looks at Rosa and it's like, well, um, this will be another new experience to tell our children and everybody else's children about.
Um, so does anybody else want to put their hands on the glass, or is it just Rosa and Lena that are doing it?
It's about dealing with Ruin. Runa would love to hear.
Okay. Is there anybody that's like not putting their hands on the glass?
Yeah, it's Arthur. He's not a servant of Matryoshka.
I'm also not touching the giant fucking dragon egg. Hell no. It's like the scariest thing to an Isaac.
Gav can't help it. I mean,
I will absolutely give you the reckless dromedary for that one, by the way.
Yeah, he's
no. Len is going to look around for a ruler, and then he's going to start thwapping at people who are not him and Rosa. He's like, the big, angry, oh, not angry, actually pretty friendly, but the very giant, very learned Draken said specifically, Len and Rosa, we will ask if you can be included, but let's not presume, because we might have to go back there, and they treat the Draken we know of like fucking puppies. I say this with love.
Oh, damn it, now Arthur wants to see it.
Glory in chat pointed out that Han should get a dromedary for the cowardly. I am absolutely good for it.
Well, then please do ask, because I'd also love to hear.
Yeah. Look, I'm not angry at anybody. I just don't want to have to deal with. So who the fuck is this?
Also, if Len does get a ruler and does hit Runa with it, she will slap him in the face very lightly.
That's fine. He's just kind of. It's not like a serious hit. He's just kind of like back. No.
Gav's watching
The
him
little
slap
slap
the
is just like,
hand.
use your fucking words,
Clang.
but without words.
He's doing it in.
Can Rosa just touch it?
So is Rosa just touching it the whole time?
Yeah.
So just like there's like a little rainbow that sort of like appears around her hand, and while Len is like busy warding people off and arguing with everybody, what she experiences is sort of like she is touching an egg like exactly like this one, but she is atop what she recognizes as like what looks like a chess table but scaled for the Draken. Does that make sense? Meaning that the pieces of it dwarf her individually. And I mean like every single piece of it looks like it could be a small building, but they're carved in the same way as like it's called squares in this world instead of chess, but it's chess. So there are like pieces that she recognizes that those are pawns, those are kings, those are queens. All of the pawns are little eggs, by the way, and everything else is like a variation of like a birthed Draken. Does that make sense? And as she's sort of like standing there alone, she sees that Draken, the like animal one, kind of it pulls itself up and over the side. It begins to slink towards her in a stalk. And like sniffing the air and like wings kind of like batting slowly. And then it just sort of like its arm blurs as it reaches out to swipe her, and nothing happens. It passes clean through her, and then her like makes a unhappy noise, and like very petulantly just turns and knocks one of the egg pieces off of the table.
And then Len's gonna be like, "All right, hold on." Whoop.
So, did Rosa? Everybody still sees Rosa in the room, by the way. Like she just looks like she's a little bit elsewhere. If there's a reaction that Rosa has that the others would see, feel free to describe it.
When the cat, why'd I call it a cat? When the Draken swipes through her, she does shriek, and then she starts to laugh maniacally.
So, what happened? What's going on?
And as Len appears, the Draken is making an angry noise at Rosa laughing. You know what I'm saying? Like fully kind of halfway between a roar and like a warble. And pacing in a circle and then kind of like sniffing at Len and like batting at where he is and having the same no kind of fortune about it.
Yeah, Rose is laughing way too hard at this.
And abruptly there is a familiar voice that like booms above the table. And problem, and he scoops up the little Draken in a single claw, and its limbs dangle, and its tail flicks, and its wings angrily beat. And the massive Draken reaches down and picks up the missing piece and like sets it back on the table. And he's like, "We are having guests. You must behave." He says, "You have received my message."
Yeah. Sorry about the delay. We were dealing with White Plague and Verschlingen and some Unraveled and uh,
I
also
don't know
some
what all
kind
of
of
those words mean, but it sounds like you have had an exciting time of it.
that is a way to look at it. Yes, we are living in interesting times.
And he holds up the angry little Draken. He's like, "Will you behave?" And it's like, "Meow." It's like, "I'm going to put you back down. You must be on good behavior." He like sets it back down at like the side of the table, and it just sort of immediately like accidentally tail swipes another piece off.
Accidentally.
The look on its face is absolutely pleased with itself. It suggests this is in no way accidental.
It's like it's a giant scaly cat. That's that's all it really is.
Um,
So you said you might have you've made some progress in how we can possibly stop ruin.
he
Should we bring
says,
Ruin in? Or Rosa? Should we bring Runa in? I just said all
Yeah,
the other our names.
we have two others in our uh, group who are interested in hearing what has to be said, including one who is very entwined with runes herself.
"Oh, so she may be able to answer some questions about the Sigils. That is valuable, actually."
Don't tell her that.
He says, "Any you trust, they are welcome here. Visitors in general," he says, "have been quite appreciated." He says,
Okay,
"A
hold
few
on.
of the members of the Explorer Society," he says, "have appeared briefly," he says, "and then disappeared the moment trouble greeted them."
Yeah, they probably didn't realize that he can't injure them here, that we're just projections.
Well, trouble has quite enjoyed the playtime.
Yeah, I could tell. Hold on a minute. He's gonna turn around and be like, "All right, everybody hands." Everybody he points out the specific everybody's. And the what's her name? The leader of the Explorer
Madeline de
Society,
Bisset.
Natalie Dubset. He'll be like, "Ed, you can join us if you'd like, but only you."
Is there some danger?
No. We're completely. It's a projection. You're seeing somewhere else and hearing somewhere else, but you are not feeling or interactable in that other place.
Just fascinating.
If Len's just like, I'm gonna throw the Explorer Society a little bone here because I feel like that could be a favor to pull in later, or at least a thank you for this.
Yeah, for anybody else who touches it. So I'm going to describe it because I know some people haven't been there. Um, the You're on the inside of a mountain that has been hollowed out, an entire mountain that has been hollowed out to act as the residence of a single creature. Um, and the Draken Bone Bridge that extends across the river on the eastern side of Freeburg, um, is the approximate scale of the creature that is actually here. Um, I'm gonna I'm gonna ping it once just to kind of show like what we're talking about. Um, so this is a creature that would stretch across like multiple city blocks. He has all sorts of like furniture that's scaled to his size, although a lot of it is not built as he has not like hate it when I blank on a word. He doesn't walk on two legs. He goes on all fours. So like a lot of things like couches and stuff like that are designed so that he can kind of drape across them rather than sit upright because that's not a comfortable thing. And so like even like the chairs that are like at the chess table are like half circles that sort of like wrap around so the two players could both simultaneously be sort of like wrapped around the table and playing. Does that make sense?
So marriage chaises.
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of like interest and the thing is that those chaises would be like literal city blocks long.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And there's also enormous like stone carved bookshelves that have tablets like lined full of them. And the creature sort of like peers down. It is very clear very quickly. It can't actually tell Len and Rosa apart. Like it probably can't even make out the details of their genders or differences in their voices. And like the more people there are, the more it's not really capable of like distinguishing the humans. In the same way that if you had like a truckload of ants, you know what I'm saying? Like if you could recognize the individual ants, you're probably a specialist in the field of ant studies. But for most people, even with a magnifying glass, it's gonna be like, that's an ant, that's an ant, that's also an ant.
That's a pale ant. That's the bigger ant. That's the ant with the fancy
Oh,
hat.
that one's red.
And the entire time there is a fully like a full-size Draken as they know Draken to be, that is alternatively being scooped off the table, knocking something over on it, stalking somebody, crawling up his arm, being a general nuisance the entire time. And like
Runa does laugh.
yeah, and the thing is like Runa was amongst bones the same size as that thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Understood that this would have been a horrific monster face to face, but it is just a tiny, irritable, you know,
House pet.
house
An
pet to
opinionated
this thing.
house cat.
Very much so.
The way you describe Trouble does sound like Pike. Enter cat name here.
Yeah. He says, you have asked about a possible means of stopping ruin. He says, and I took on the challenge of the idea of how might we remove the power of ruin from him. He is powered by one of the sigils from uh, from the ship. It says, which means that should his sigil be removed, then the force that animates and keeps him immortal and alive should go with him.
So hold on. I'm gonna try and kind of clear this up. I don't think everybody has all the information. The giant water draken that those of us who went to the Mirror Sea saw is actually the remains of the ship that brought the progenitors here, Batushka and those who came with her.
Just out of the thing, Hans and I are hearing this being said.
So unless you have your hands on it, you're not observing this. Oh, you'll hear the things that Len says aloud.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
so
what
we're
I
hearing
mean.
about half of it.
We're hearing like half of it. That's what I was checking.
And inside of that enormous creature is the rune for ruin, where this rune language truly originated. And so I'm guessing you're kind of indicating that we would need to find a way to get into and survive inside of that living ship, find the rune for ruin, and disable it somehow.
There's a complication.
Oh, oh!
Of course, there is.
Never would have seen that
Of
coming. I thought this was
Why
going to
wouldn't
be
there
very
be?
straightforward.
And sorry, I just wanted to address it. I've been calling the Draken both trouble and problem. Problem is the actual German word for trouble. So like I'm using them interchangeably because for the purposes of the languages he's speaking, they are the same thing.
That makes it funny.
Um,
Just occasionally we're hearing the dragon swear in Eisen.
Um, and there are even times where like the Draken kind of climbing it seems to get like a little bit of a wince out of it, but it's like the same level of wince you would get from like a small cat trying to climb your leg. Um, he says the problem is that the sigils themselves are interconnected in a sequential fashion. He says, in order to uncouple ruin, one would have to uncouple the rune that comes before it, the sigil that precedes it. In order to uncouple that sigil, one needs to uncouple the sigil that precedes that.
All right, and if every one of those sigils that we uncouple is going to basically eliminate the functionality of that rune in this reality.
Well, presumably those runes could be reassigned.
Oh, okay.
But are not the ruins in a circle anyway? Where do you find the beginning?
Are you here?
Yes, we.
Oh, I didn't know.
So you
I didn't
touched
know you were in.
you touched the thing as well? Okay.
So it's only Arthur who didn't actually, or did
Arthur
Hans?
and Hans.
Arthur and
spike
Hans,
the
I think,
invincibility?
No, I'm not touching that. No way.
Coward.
He doesn't even like being
I've-
in the room.
I've been messed up with enough godlike beings. I'm perfectly happy not to.
All right,
not only do Beset is also there, and like for the first minute or so, she's sort of trying to juggle like how do I touch this thing and write in my journal at the same time before finally just kicking off a shoe and putting her foot against the egg and writing busily the entire time.
I can respect it.
So, sorry.
Would we be able to just take Ruin out of the chain and then like a link in a chain and then connect all the others together so that they continue or resume functioning? Removing Ruin?
One would need the recipient of the rune to be present.
That is another complication.
It sounds like we might have someone, maybe.
There are giant killer statues protecting those entities.
Not the dragon. The dragon's in the mirror scene.
No,
but like
we would have to get the runes out there. We would need to rescue the runes from Valhalla to get them to
into
the
the dragon.
Jormungandr and
have them not
Either
murder
of
us
the
or
runes
each other.
before or after Ruin are wisdom. Wisdom's the only one that's not crazy.
Well, no, we would have to, if I'm understanding correctly, everyone in the chain before Ruin, all of them.
Oh,
Yeah, you have
that's a lot.
Uncouple and then pull out Ruin, then recouple all the. Remember that one that was just a huge ball of muscle and screaming all the time?
That's the first one.
Am I being insulted right now? But that seems like
Okay,
Oh, no, it's
so I need you guys to know I'm looking at the runes and their numbers right now. Ruin is 19.
out of how many?
24.
Oh, that's not so. Well, you could just start from the other.
That's not so bad. We need to get
Yeah,
19 of them.
but could you just start from the other end of the chain?
Then we have to deal with Fury.
Well, I mean, that's 5 is better than 18.
Fury is the like
giant
living
muscle
embodiment of lightning.
Oh, that's the lightning one.
Yeah, dude.
So we would have to, as you said, uncouple them all, and then they don't work anymore.
I believe those runes would be inert until they were reassigned. Yes.
That would make Runa's magic inert. Correct.
I would be able to use 5 of my runes.
Well,
and kind of just looks down at her body.
Here's the biggest thing I think that would be the problem with that. Does it have to be the actual recipient or somebody who is empowered by? Like, is it the embodiment, the person who is basically the avatar of each rune, or just somebody who has it carved on their bodies and can access it?
He says those who have the ability to access it are themselves tapping into the sigil. The sigil needs to be uncoupled. I don't believe that it could be done remotely in that regard.
It is extremely unsafe to be bringing 18, 19 of the runes that are crazy and would be unpredictable and are full of power into the ship.
That it I, hopefully there's some information that has some sort of alternative or variant, because I was not kidding when I said that one of the embodiments of the runes was a how big were those rooms again that we looked at back in the ones where they were like the
I think
sphere that it
they're like
was
full-size longhouses
Yeah.
okay, so
for each
Giants.
rune.
yeah, like a 30-foot sphere. I think this was the embodiment of rage. I don't know the runes very well, but or berserking maybe, whatever they were entirely muscled, entirely pressing against the walls of this 30-foot sphere
That
and
one was
screaming in
strength,
rage.
right?
That was, I think that was flesh. It was either flesh or strength. I have to.
Either way,
Yeah,
flesh is
so gross.
1, strength is 5.
Yeah, there's absolutely no way that we can corral. These embodiments are powerful beyond our ability to withstand each and every one of them, and all of them except one, you said, Runa, are chaotically irredeemably insane. They have been driven,
Their powers made them mad.
yeah, driven beyond any sort of logic or reason by the power that they carry.
And I don't know that even Odin could corral the runes.
Yeah,
The
they're
Draken kind of like, well, phooey.
And it's extremely
I-
unsafe even going to Valhalla.
Have you considered enlisting the aid of the Tessera?
The
The
what now?
what now?
You.
He says you described the creatures, he says, that were capturing them. He says as automatons, correct?
The
Yes.
statues that moved
Yeah.
and killed people.
the
He
golems.
says, yes, those were created by the Tessera.
Pretty
this
sure
is-
they're either locked away or dead, and it's just their creations working. Let me explain. Right now, other than one or two of the, I can't remember what you call them. We call them Cernith, the bug people, the red bug people. Most other races have either been wiped away from our level of reality or imprisoned by Matushka and the Forerunners.
Portal thing.
They
He says,
are
yes, the the Wachturrm exists to maintain that prison. He
yes.
says each of the facets of it represents a different prison. He says you traveled to one already. He says the one that was designed for the Tessera. He says, and if you are saying that they have been wiped out there, he says, then presumably the control mechanisms which control their automatons are subject to either another creature or running on the last programming they received.
Who was the giant crab man?
What the hell is programming?
Crubastian.
He says, it is like the notes of a concert. He says that written down, he says, are performed. The notes themselves are not the music. He says, but they indicate the music to be played.
Huh. So you're saying we should possibly be able to find that music somewhere and change the song?
Effectively, he says one could issue instructions to their servitors to do something else, such as to collect the runes and move them onto a ship.
Would
Okay.
would
Runa, go ahead.
the runes need to be returned to their original vessel?
He says, well, once they have been uncoupled, they're likely going to die.
Which would probably be a blessing for most of them.
And
Which means we would need to damn 18 new souls to the
or
same fate.
one. Would one work?
No, absolutely no, Runa, no.
He says,
That power, each individual rune drove somebody crazy and made them more powerful than we could contain. Now, stuffing 18 of them into the same body, assuming you survived. And I know who one person is, Mrs. I'm stealing your wounds all the time, adding them to my collection. And I say this with love, but that seems like the worst possible idea. Maybe I'm crazy here, but
there is a very large Drachenface pressed very close to the table that is kind of trying to figure out which one of you is Runa.
She's gonna step forward. Seeing that she's gonna step forward from the group.
Right into the egg.
He says you are capable of drawing injuries from one. It's fascinating.
She kind of tries to like reach out to touch the dragon, even though she knows we're projections. This is just really like bizarre for her. She wants to say that she tried to touch a draken.
You touched the butt.
And in its response, as it kind of realizes what she's trying to do, it picks up the entire stone, and everyone sort of like lifts into the air as if they were being lifted and sets it down in its palm. You still are not like actually touching it, but there is a sensation of like you're in its palm.
Cool.
And Problem is immediately trying to like claw its way over to get to that hand.
Is there any way if we could access these runes that we could adjust what the embodiment does to somebody?
It says these sigils are the building blocks of reality.
Which would make sense if they were used to... Yeah, no, that would make sense.
I would not suggest tampering with them.
Yeah, no, so...
That I do not understand most of this. But you have mentioned that this power in each individual has driven them to the brink of sanity. Perhaps that is what has driven them to this brink, is not the power itself, but the fact that the power has been divided.
I don't know. I'm going to disagree with that. I feel like it's too much power for any one mortal. Even Batushka and the forebears themselves, I don't think embodied all this. They utilize it.
All of the runes, the magic is stolen. The magic is stolen.
It's kind of iffy when it comes to this level.
Its rightful place is truly with the ship.
What happens if we give it back then?
The ship regains abilities it has long lost.
Would that render my magic useless?
I cannot say.
I can I think we're all starting to see the shape of a possibility, but I need to ask some questions from a higher power first.
Could we send someone to go get Mom, aka Odin?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and if Runa wants to like untouch and be like, I gotta get my mom, I'll be right back. She can do that.
No, she's gonna send leg day.
Yeah, that checks out.
She's still in there, but like she's hoping they can hear outside. It's like, Hans, would you mind grabbing my mother?
Oh, yeah. He's been like scribbling really bad pictures, like picture math, trying to figure out what the other half is saying in this conversation. So he'll keep his little piece of paper and run off to go find Ingvild.
Okay. So we're
Be sure to tell her that you're not there because I'm dead.
I like to imagine he left before you heard that bit.
No, Runa doesn't say that out loud. Runa doesn't say that. That was Ruth. It's just her daughter is working very closely with people who have the white plague.
And Bissette kind of whispers to Gab, she's like, do you think you'll be offended if I ask how to spell Tessara?
I do not think so. He seems very forthright with conversation.
And yeah, and she's kind of, excuse me, can I ask some clarifying questions? And he kind of leans and peers and
A fellow nerd.
yeah, he does like, oh, he says a fellow scholar. And she kind of asked like, what are the tests, or what is this discussion of like the Wachturrm being a prison? How many other races are there? You know what I'm saying? And he describes that there are like 7 races that preceded humans. There is an 8th one that he mentions is like still allowed to like coexist alongside the humans, but that's because it keeps to itself and they don't really have any crossover. And
Fae? Does it sound like the Fae when he describes them? Oh.
No, because the face stole me. That's definitely
that's
not.
fair.
They keep to
I mean,
themselves.
what's one baby? It's just
no.
every now and then.
But I was the baby.
When he
also
says that
did
there's
try to end Hans, so
when he mentions there's still a Cernith race on Theus, she's like, pardon? You know what I'm saying? And she says, yes, they're under the water in Usura.
That
At least they are not
explains some things.
He says they refer to themselves as the Vodyanoi, which is a word that Rosa knows.
It's a word that Bison knows too.
That is the word the Fideli used to refer to their ancestral roots.
Do we know them? Does Usura know them probably as Rasulka? Or is that a different thing entirely?
Rasulka is a woman that's been drowned.
Well, yeah, that's the myth, but that might not be how it started.
I think that's just like a myth from them.
Oh, okay.
So this is all kind of like happening. Hans kind of, gets to the house and finds like Ingvild there sort of like packing up her things and putting a bag over her shoulder.
There you go.
She's packing up her things and she's a head out west.
And she says, I'm ready. And kind of like falls in step with him.
He's wait, hang on. Did Runa tell everyone who her dad is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone knows, I think.
Yeah, I think Hans was there when she was rescued.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the only one who doesn't know is
Oh,
Sherrod.
Sherrod doesn't know.
Yeah, there was a couple people missing, I think.
And yeah, Arthur, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, was he already at the Explorer Society? Was he already there? With everyone taking notes about the egg and stuff?
No, that's
he's not part of the Explorer
Oh,
Society.
it's just Dubas then.
Nah, he's a solo researcher.
Yeah, that's fair.
Enjoyer.
They're
of
actually
Cernith
slightly diametrically opposed.
Yeah, with the whole selling artifacts thing,
Yeah. I don't remember. But yeah.
It
Just head
belongs
back
in a
then.
museum. but this guy can pay me a lot for it, bro. I mean,
so the Hans returns. Ingvild kind of like, she's like, you're looking well.
Oh, well, thank you. It's just been a interesting few days.
She smiles and she kind of puts a hand on his shoulder. And she says, I saw many outcomes for you. She says, and this one has the chance of leading to the happiest.
That is what I've been hoping for. This is good to hear.
She kind
Subtle
of
way of saying marry my boss.
yeah, and she smiles at Hans and She says, "I'm glad you found yourself."
It is good to be back, I suppose.
Um, and
I'll kind of catch her up on the whole egg thing on the way there as well.
yeah, and she, her single eye looks very thoughtful. It studies Hans throughout as he's explaining. And when she arrives, she kind of, emulates what everybody else is doing, and then looks a little startled as she appears. It's getting a little crowded with the people touching the egg.
Just reaching over each other, kind of.
Um, but she smiles and gives Runa's arm a squeeze, and then looks up to like the very large Draken and kind of like, oh my.
And Runa's gonna catch her up on all that has already been said.
Yeah, and Basette's kind of still quizzing him about things. Um,
Boy, Odin sure did change genders and get much more attractive than when he was an old man.
And Runa is almost the spitting image of her mom.
yeah, and Ainville does smile at the like got more attractive. You know what I'm saying? Like there's still a missing eye. But actually it's not missing. It's just like it looks cataracted. Does that make sense? Um, and the uh she's like, "You are young enough that I would paint you bottom."
And no, I'm thinking better what I'm saying.
And
Runa's
she laughs
very much
aloud,
like,
and she's like, "I shared a boat with you for days. I know what you're thinking."
did she? Oh, Odin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot about the whole Odin part.
So it sounds like
Arthur says
choice
that right
goes-
before she touches the egg, apparently.
Can Runa hear this?
I think she can hear half of it. She can hear but like Ainville herself doesn't seem to have a problem maintaining both conversations at once.
No, that checks out.
Because I think if Runa heard Arthur, she'd be like, "Don't you dare hit on my mom."
Runa's
I mean, you look almost
has got
identical.
it going on.
You look almost
It's all
identical, so I'm
out.
technically hitting on both of you.
Runa just like laughs a bit with an eye roll.
Anyway, so
just for the
basically
sake of
what
that
I'm
here.
hearing is our options are to either try to find this programming for the golems and have them bring the incarnations of the runes onto the frankly staggeringly huge murder ship dragon and remove decouple the runes, which will kill them all.
Except for 20 to 24.
Except for 20 to 24. Although if we're at that point, we might as well just decouple and free everyone. I mean, start the chain entirely over and free everyone who is suffering. Because I believe Ruin has come to this because he has been the embodiment of ruin for centuries, even more than that, since time immemorial, back when everything is still myths and legends. He might be more functionally driven to insanity by this, but even if we intend to recouple everything, that gives us time to figure things out and one less stressor on the Wachturrm.
The Draken says, getting paged, by the way. My own trouble. Says it was the Thalusai who convinced the members of the Vestin to take the runes upon themselves. It says, at the time they claimed to be servants of the ship itself.
But likely we're just looking for a way to weaken it.
He says, I believe that their intention at first was to take the ship itself and to leave Thea. But the ship was no longer capable of flight. That was the reason for its arrival and its crash here. It had not been repaired. When they could not use it to do so, they they used its they used the sigils to try to undermine the barrier that had been used to trap them. Ingvild says, I believe there is another complication. Says all of the Vestin that you saw in that place were former Scourgeon. Former Scourgeon who, because of the runes on their bodies, were drawn there after their death. If the runes themselves are freed, I do not know how they will react.
Well, that's why we're talking about not freeing them, but happily possibly using um the automatons, the golems, to move them, prison and all, onto the ship. The ship can contain all of them.
Sorry. Hans is writing. Hans is writing. Get rid of runes equals army of angry ghosts? Question mark? Question mark.
And like Dubeset is like been writing notes so fast that like some of the scholars of the Explorer Society are like switching out ink bottles under her quill because
Reloading
like
her
she's
equipment.
running through them. So
Wait. Okay, now.
Like a pit crew for an F1 car.
Yeah, just gonna look over
Swapping
and
out
just
nubs and quills.
I imagine every so often having to replace the entire scroll or the book that she's got.
oh yeah, probably.
Just-
Well,
just-
the book is
well,
fairly
just-
lengthy, but like the pen definitely gets swapped out, a new one sharpened, and
he's looking at Dubeset and he's like, you are learning things that are dangerous to know. I hope you understand that. This is knowledge. I brought you in because, well, it seemed unwise to try to exclude you, especially in your own home, but also because your help and the help of your scholars may be necessary. But discretion is more than the watchword here at this point.
there's much we're going to have to discuss after this meeting, but I don't want to miss a word of it.
Yeah, and out of character, I realized the irony of Len going, "You can't tell anybody about this." All right.
And Runa's gonna look to Ingvild. Do you know if the runes return to the ship? If well, I guess my magic works anymore.
Um,
Do I put more points into Leakstra, CSO?
Well, you don't have the
Jeez.
white plague, so it's probably not going to be as bad as it could be.
She says, I had a conversation with Koshe of Usura in another life. Says he was capable of magic that no one else was, but magic that was much like the magic possessed by Strega in particular. The ability to foresee things, the ability to see connections, and even the ability to manipulate those fates from time to time. But that was not the only magic that he had understanding of. He was also capable of summoning fire and commanding it to his will.
That
But
is,
he understood those magics before magic had proliferated through Numa. And he said that magic has always been here in Thea.
and I can explain why, but that is going to be a very private conversation.
She says, you ask if you will lose access to your magic. She says, and I think it is carved too deep into your flesh to simply disappear.
Runa nods, kind of relieved.
So what is the harm then of putting them on the ship?
getting them on the ship, basically.
Yeah, finding wherever the controls are for the automatons is going to be an adventure in and of itself, given their reaction to our presence last time.
Well, they didn't notice us for a bit until we started messing with things.
Yeah.
I can do the things I did again. It will hurt me, but I can do them again.
She says, once in the mirror, see, I think they will be safe. I think they can even be released from their imprisonment at that point. She says, and I say that because I spoke to Ruin on the Mirror Sea, and I understand his very voice causes madness and despair.
What did he
But-
say to you? That is a question for another time.
She nods. She says, the
I
short
almost
version
refuse.
is that he wishes to die.
That's what he told me.
Could we?
There's a way I can tell him that we could make that happen for him. If he ceases trying to end our world as we know it. But last time I did look in on him, I got his room.
We should probably be pretty certain that we can do it before we do it. Like, before we let him know. I'd be willing to have that discussion if he's earnest in his desire to just not be anymore, and we can say, hey, you just have to get on this ship, ignore the other 19 screaming ruins in their little containment bubbles, but we'll get this done.
She says, if all of them are returned enough to their right mind that they can be spoken to, then we can ask them if they would bear the runes again or not.
Do we
So-
think wisdom could help us? Get wisdom first.
I don't know. Possibly.
They still have their senses.
I don't know what wisdom looks like after the years of imprisonment that they've endured. Just because they have their faculties does not mean that they are benevolent.
This is true.
I never really wanted to go back to that place. The Mirror Sea especially is incredibly uncomfortable.
Oh. Question from the other side of the conversation. When we saw Big Ocean Draken, was it like still swimming around and shit, or was it just kind
It
of
was constantly
there?
moving. It was
Okay.
constantly moving. It seemed very much to be alive and animate and aware.
Okay.
And Arthur knew that.
It was watching
It's
us.
crazy.
Oh yeah.
Thing then.
Yeah, for a little while it was like, oh, there's a boat. I think I'll leave it alone for now.
And there was a question from Glory in the chat about that she had heard Ruin speak, and Ruin was speaking to Hilgrun as opposed to her, so the full weight of his abilities landed on Hilgrun.
Well, it's an effect. It's a directed effect. Like when Madness talks to somebody on Monday's game.
Ooh, hang on.
That makes sense.
Ruin has spoken to Runa twice.
I believe he spoke to her right before she lost her mind for 4 years.
She has no memory of him speaking to her at all. All you said was he pushed her. The second time she was fine. She just got injured because he pushed her again.
That was a vision, wasn't it? Not face to
Yeah, I
face.
believe that was not a direct face-to-face confrontation. I believe that was through
Yep. You
her.
distant
Okay,
saw
so
him.
that is different.
Yeah.
Okay.
For like secondhand cell phone trauma.
Yeah.
Because
And it's entirely possible that Ruin has
Sorry.
some ability to control that ability. It's just like he has certainly used it to an effect to drive people to suicide before. Whether it's something that happens every time somebody talks to him or is just something you control is unknown.
He did it to
But
Trog.
but it does make a case for the possibility that they might not have the full access to their abilities while in the Mirror Sea itself, probably because of the presence of the creature that powers their abilities.
So the rough outline of the plan is to go back to Valhalla, such as it is, try and find the controls, reprogram the automatons, get the incarnations of the runes back to the Mirror Sea, somehow get them inside the dragon ship that is very aware and stronger than I think probably even he looks up at our benefactor here.
So most certainly.
Yeah. And from there, hope that the runes themselves regain enough of their faculties to be asked, do you want us to end you? And for the ones who don't, we have no way of doing anything except leaving, as at least without tinkering in things that we should absolutely not be tinkering with. We have no way to do anything except have their prisons put back in Valhalla. We're not letting them free where they can have access to their full powers and just wander Thea. That's a non-starter.
Does the vessel
This-
have to be living? I know this sounds like a stupid question, but the entire crew of the Revenge was at Valhalla. And they have been dead for years.
And Ingvild says, and not all of them are Scaregin, which I think some may have been brought by their connection to Scaregin, to frequent blessings by them. I'm not certain. There seems to be a web made by our magic.
But could they take the place? Could they bear the runes? I mean, I know he wasn't exactly alive, but I saw Red hit that automaton with the force of a runaway ox cart.
And Weisgeit, the Draken, he says, I don't know.
This is all pretty theoretical and should be well above all of our pay grades, but we're the ones here, buddies.
We are getting paid? Question mark.
Look, I don't want to hear it, Mr. Oh, look, I get land and I have a noble title.
That sounds all like a lot of guessing and nothing's sure.
How do we make sure it's going to work first? Do we talk to the ship?
Beset says, if I have a point of order, but one of the first things mentioned, which was to seize control of the automatons via changing their programming. He says, I assume that I can understand you by some sort of mechanism right now, like to the Draken. And how would we be able to understand the device that we are to alter and its language? And the Draken kind of says, I don't believe that you'd be capable of transporting my translation device, even if I were able to get it to you. He says one of you would have to learn the Tessaran language.
As that I can do. I have a knack for understanding and learning languages.
I can hear Honorine fuming
As
from
do
beyond
I.
the ether.
Redundancy might be for the best.
Yeah, but not Honorine. She doesn't want to join us. She doesn't get to learn a like special dead language.
Somebody's about to get a hedgehog to the face.
Yes, please.
Waiting for it.
She's also really not feeling well, so she might
Is
wait
there
might
till
just
20
we come
puke
in
seconds
on
here
you
away? You might have
instead.
to wait. You know, some reused soup.
She's waiting for you to fall.
Um, he says, we have hardly arrived at a conclusion. He says, but the research had advanced to a point where I felt the need to turn over what I had discovered.
No,
Thank you.
it's
Thank you.
appreciated. At least gives us some hope.
Obviously, he says field testing this is going to present some difficulties, and I would offer to help, but I have no way out of my realm.
I
Yeah.
have another question. These Tessera, did they look like, and he like imitates giant crab people? Because that is what we saw, and they turned the automata away.
He says, in their armor, yes.
Then there is one in Valhalla that may actually help us. I do not know how. But he saved us from these golem when we were escaping. Because they were going to chase us, and then they turned around.
Assuming it was a living one and not a projection. We've seen projections of the past before. At least I have.
It was definitely like a ghost. I remember
Yeah.
it was just sort of the spectral kaiju crab dude.
The
If
projections of the dead do still hold merit in Valhalla. You saw the dead fight.
I
Yeah.
did. I don't know whether that was actually Ghost or is it something kind of like what we've got going on here, or any number of things. There's obviously quite a bit more out there than any of us ever imagined.
it may be helpful if prior to the event you can get a hold of a Tessera matrix of some other form of their programming, such that you can deduce the elements of it.
Did
You
they
would need a
produce?
suitably complicated artifact of Tessera design.
The cannon.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, did they produce cannons of light?
Indeed.
Yeah,
Oh,
Geralt
great.
says
Heist. Sorry.
Yeah. No, when we were in Valhalla, Geralt saw one like just sitting like a battery emplacement.
Yeah.
And he's like, we disassembled one of those and sold it to Posen.
Well, we didn't sell it to Posen.
Well, yeah,
Somebody else did.
Geralt. You know,
And everybody can feel their hand shake as Len just sort of beats his head against the egg a few times. He's just like, just gets more.
The set
Fucking-
kind of seems to like flicker and disappear, reappear, disappear, reappear.
That's not going to help.
Runa just like places her head against the egg. Father? She doesn't say that, but
So
You know, Hans, by just by the body language, I can tell these conversations are going great.
Yeah, it
well,
would
maybe
would be interesting to hear what the other side is saying, but I do not.
Yeah, I'm not going to find out by some.
No,
weird,
no.
It's too much.
I have
Too
seen
many
enough.
weird things already.
I have heard enough bad stories of that in my childhood.
maybe we could get the cannon as a dowry.
Man and his ideas. He's writing.
Yeah.
Who's
and-
getting married this time? Looking over at Hans's notes.
We will tell you later. It's missed a few interesting things recently.
Problem kind of squirms out of his hands once more and like charges at the table right as the Vice Guide is setting it back down, and manages to like knock over fully half of like the pieces from the table before falling off of the edge. He
His name is
says,
Wise Guy.
Vice Guide is his name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I misheard the one day.
The name means wisdom. So
So he
Uh,
is a
He
wise
is
guy.
some wise guy.
He is some wise guy.
but he says, I must get problem fed or she will get armorier.
Yeah. Well, we have things to discuss, and you also said you're not finished with your research. Just at a point you wanted to share what you had found.
I'm hoping to uncover more, he says, but Unfortunately, the relics of the civilizations which followed ours are not present in our domain.
Grazie, signore, for helping
yeah.
us.
Thank you. And if you find anything else about barriers locking things in or out of Thera, that could also be helpful.
He says the barrier that is a part of the Wachturrm.
I think this barrier is over the world itself, the one that keeps things out.
That's the same. That's the dome.
The
That's
same.
The
He
walk
yeah, the
says
dome.
logo
Okay,
is the
yeah.
dome.
if the tower were to fall, that barrier were to be destroyed.
Could that
Right.
barrier be destroyed without the tower falling?
Presumably.
So yeah, if you find anything else about that, ways to strengthen it, anything like that, that would be just peachy keen. Is there anything you want to know from our end? I feel like we're getting a lot out of this.
I he says presumably we will have more conversations. He
Oh,
says,
absolutely.
I may have some questions in the future, he says, but at the moment I've just concluded my research and was delighted to share it. I'm sorry
no,
it
I
is not as
appreciate it.
immediately helpful a solution as I might have wished.
No,
Well-
but this does help. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. We went from having no solution to at least
An idea.
skeleton of an idea.
Many,
And-
many threads.
And I would offer you refreshments, but unfortunately they would be in vain at the moment.
Yeah. No, it's appreciated. Please feed your giant cat lizard, and we will be in touch.
Um, yeah, he kind of like he steps away and it's a matter of everybody kind of like pulling their hands off, you know. You hear him like rumbling at the Draken who's like squirming in his hands and clearly being a handful. And Bissette kind of like pulls her foot away, and Hans and Arthur see her like immediately kind of like doing the my hand has such a cramp in it, ow, 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 kind of stretching and fingers. Um, and she kind of turns and waits and looks to everyone else, like waiting for them to sort of like emerge from.
It's all a lot to take in, even from one side.
It was
Flipping
a
through
lot from the
book.
other side too.
On
She
the
says
subject
there
of
are-
strengthening the barrier, I have an idea on that.
Oh, good. Well, we should probably have a full council meeting
Probably
somewhere
in
more
the
secure.
private house.
I mean,
Bissette
I don't
speaks.
or, never mind.
Bissette says, I agree that it may be a danger to keep this particular object here in the Explorer Society. She says, I think it should be moved to a safer location.
Well, my default answer is where we always meet because that's worded, but it's also not necessarily the most secure place. Then again, it's always got people there, so it's hard for anybody to sneak in.
This is like a 6-foot giant rock. Like stealing it will be hard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we might
You're
need
gonna
to
need
have.
carts and horses to steal it. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
We-
it's not like you can rent a bobcat in 17th century Freiburg. Just
Can
push it on. Just yeah.
I just pictured the whole council like carrying the egg together.
pivot. We're in a corner. Pivot.
someone is pushing. We're supposed to be pulling.
It's a nightmare of moving a couch quadrupled.
Yep.
Because it's 500
Listen,
kilos.
no, my way. Okay,
Yeah.
look,
But, you know-
if we remove this solid mass out of it and then bring it on piece by piece, we'll make this a lot easier for ourselves.
Yeah, it'll be nothing.
All right.
But you know, the floor there was reinforced after the bear incident, so you know it's.
We could also take it to Mademoiselle Janine's, the Sister Cease estate. It would look like another piece of garden artwork.
Yeah, but the
Oh.
problem is we need to be able to have these discussions in a place where people can't hear over the fence, sort of thing.
I
And
may have a place, but it is down in the sewers.
The,
No,
Gav
thank
is
you.
thinking the where the Dracheneisen mine is.
That's going to be real close to the Black Cross's headquarters.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
No,
What?
Yeah,
Would
I
it
don't like
fit
this much on
in
there.
the space where her ship is? Would it fit on on the Revenge?
It could be fitted onto the Revenge. It would be heavier for it.
The mobile communication device.
Invented the
might-
first boat phone.
Not be ideal on there
No.
then, but that was a thought I had.
no, I really think at least in the short term, the meeting room in the beer house will probably have to get some security. More
It might have to
security.
go into the prop room. I don't think that there's a reasonable way to get it up the stairs that lead to the area over the stage.
No, you just gotta really pick a pet
Unless-
and then. No.
Unless we carry it through a portal, perhaps.
I don't think anybody's
I don't
using
know.
Porta anytime soon.
I don't think putting a magical object into another
Yeah.
magical
Probably
object seems
not.
like a
I was
great
gonna say
idea.
we don't want to cross the magical. That's the same reason I wasn't for it going on the Revenge, because we might have to take the Revenge through some portals too, and the last thing we need to do is for the egg to hatch or suddenly get 800 times more heavy because mirror sea fuckery and just plunge right through the bottom of the Revenge.
There
The
is not an
worst
actual
thing for
Draken
Revenge.
inside of this. It is not actually an egg. It is a device that is used for communications alone. So it won't hatch into a baby dragon.
Yeah, but he didn't tell us that. We have no
That's-
idea.
It's
For all
still
we know,
egg-shaped.
It's
That's fair.
It's
That's
shaped
fair.
like an egg, and it's dragon resonance. There was a baby dragon that never hatched in here, and that's how they're magically talking to us.
Bad vibes. Bad dragon vibes.
Dragon vibes, that means completely different.
Runa
That's totally different.
Runa can
It's a
very
different thing
much
in the modern era, yeah.
Runa can very much build a stage piece to hide it,
Oh yeah,
like that it could just
Hey.
be inside of.
she can make shit. Hell
I
yeah.
don't know. I thought what you were gonna say is Runa can totally build a little trailer boat to haul it behind the Revenge.
But no,
Little
I love it
tugboat,
being used as a
sidecar.
set piece, and then sometimes somebody,
We'll just
one of the
detach
actresses,
it for the wedding.
one of the actresses goes up to do a scene, and foot falls through a hole, and all of a sudden she's like, "Where am I? What is this?" And we got to explain things.
So I'm gonna assume that it's in the bear house for now.
Yeah.
They at least get it like moved to like the costume room. It's as safe as it can be made until more permanent arrangements can be put together. Because we've got a couple people that I know are struggling with pain and stuff tonight, I'm probably gonna like wrap up a little bit early.
That's
I would like some XP nominations. Anybody?
Definitely one to Hans for just kind of going, you know what? I don't want to be a part of this.
Yeah.
He did
I mean,
get
he already
one
got
for
the-
that.
I got
He
my
did
thing
get the
for it.
revenue
yeah.
for it, but
You got
Yeah.
one for that.
I would
one
say
for
I would say
one
Len
for
and Rosa.
Arthur. Oh,
Yeah, that's what I would say too. Honestly, for the beginning of
For the extended dragon
This is like the
storyline.
third time that while everybody else is arguing, Rosa has just been doing stuff, and I totally love that. By the way,
That's also really funny.
Yeah.
It's just like
So
I'm
I'm
just gonna see what he has to say.
It's Iticus peeking out. There's 110% Iticus bleed.
yeah.
She
All right,
really
so-
likes shiny things. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So we got one for Rosa. Who's the other one too?
Arthur?
my I know, but please not me. I still say for Len, honestly, because it's just I like the beginning when it's just kind of so I did all this stuff and I might end up having to watch our child from the distance like they did in the last Pirates of the Caribbean movie. But how's your day?
I like Glory's recommendation, Gerard, for the speech.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think
No, that's better.
Gerard should definitely.
Being willing to ad hoc a speech in the middle of a game is definitely takes a
absolutely.
special level of courage. So yeah, I'm good with that. Let's go with those two.
Codex has nothing to do with it. Just finding the words is the pain.
That is the real pain.
So I am going to, if there is nothing else, I'm going to go ahead and read us out, get us out of here a little bit early. I appreciate everybody who I know, today was not an ideal day for a lot of people, and I appreciate y'all hanging in here.
Yep.
So,
all our paying peeps, including our lovely producer who still did her job even while being just completely wiped.
Yeah, thank you so much. I know you were not in a happy place, Glory. So, all right. So, thank you for everyone watching this on YouTube or live on Twitch. Audience participation always means the world to us. And if you're on YouTube, smash the like, hit the subscribe, and make a comment in the down below. Here at Dirty 20, we always sign out with the same call to action. Be nice. Be kind when you have the spoons, but even when you're not, be nice. Be nice to strangers, be nice to family, be nice to your loved ones, and be nice to yourself. Thank you for coming on this journey with us, and we will see you next week. So.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.